We love the M3. The look, the feel, the legend. But how did this machine become what it is today? This is where the legend began. Imagine you're an engineer at BMW in the 1980s. You want to build a race car, but the rules say you have to sell a street version first. So you do something wild. You take a normal sedan and turn it into something else entirely. A high-revving four-cylinder, flared fenders, a wing, no luxury, no extras, just the bare essentials. This wasn't built for your morning commute. It was a race car with license plates. And when it hit the track, it dominated. But here's what really mattered. You could now buy a sedan that drove like a pure sports car. Take the kids to school, then destroy a back road on the way home. That idea, a practical car that made you feel like a racing driver. Change is inevitable. The M3 had to change. The E36 showed up. And suddenly, everything felt easier. More power, a smoother drive. And that straight six just flowed. It was quicker, more refined. You could drive it every day without thinking twice. But if you really paid attention, something felt different. It wasn't as raw anymore. Not as aggressive. That edge, the one that made the earlier M3 feel a little wild, was softer now. For the first time, the M3 wasn't just for the driver who wanted to feel everything. It was for someone who wanted performance and comfort. And that shift quietly changed what the M3 would become forever. At some point, the dust has to settle. Then came the E30 M3. And suddenly, everything just made sense. This was the M3 that didn't ask you to compromise. The S54 engine, 8,000 revolutions per minute. It pulled hard, but it also made you work for it. You had to chase the power. And that's what made it rewarding. The steering felt alive in your hands. Every small input mattered. The chassis was balanced, predictable, confidence-inspiring. This was the kind of car you could drive hard on a weekend and still enjoy every day without it feeling like a chore. It gave you the feeling of control, without punishing you for it. Raw enough to feel, refined enough to live with. For a lot of people, this wasn't just a great M3. It was the one that got everything right. But BMW wasn't done pushing forward. When it came time for the E90 M3, BMW didn't try to top it. They threw it out. And in its place, they dropped a V8. Stop and think about that. The E90X, a 4.0-litre V8 that revved to 8,400 revolutions per minute. In an M3, this wasn't an evolution. This was a statement. A loud, unapologetic, hood-scooped statement. Now, close your eyes for a second. Or don't, since you're driving. But imagine this. You slide into the E90 M3. Press that start button. That V8 crackles to life. It doesn't purr, it growls, then you hit the gas and suddenly you're not just accelerating, you're screaming. You feel that? That sound alone? That was the E90X experience. It didn't just connect you to the road, it connected you to something primal. But here's the thing. The E90X came with baggage. More weight, more complexity. Less of that raw, simple magic that made the earlier cars feel like an extension of your soul. And if you've ever driven one, you know exactly what I mean. So, was it worth it? Ask anyone who's ever revved out an E90 M3. They'll tell you, yes, because this wasn't just about precision. This was about theater. It was the most dramatic M3 ever built. And for many of us, the E90X was the last true analog M3. Because outside, the world was changing. Regulations, efficiency, the clock was ticking, and BMW knew they'd have to adapt. But for a brief, glorious moment, they gave us the E90 M3, a V8, a screaming red line, and one of the most unforgettable driving experiences ever made. And if you know, then everything changed, and not in a small way. The V8 was gone, replaced by a twin-turbo inline-six. More torque, more efficiency, more speed. On paper, it was better. And if you've ever driven one, you know that part is true. The F80 is brutally fast. You press the throttle, and it just goes. No hesitation, no build-up. But here's the thing. That's also where something feels different. Because for the first time, you don't have to work for it. Think about that. In the older cars, you had to chase the power. You had to earn it. Here, it's just there, all the time. And at first, that feels incredible. Effortless speed, everyday usability, no compromises. You can drive it to work in traffic, then hit a back road on the way home, and it still delivers. But after a while, you start to notice it. The sound isn't the same. Not bad, just different. The steering, now electric, feels precise, but not alive in the same way. And that connection, the one that made the car feel like an extension of you, it's still there. But it's quieter now, more distant. And that's when the conversation changed. Not about how fast the M3 was, but about how it made you feel. BMW saw it differently. They didn't build the F80 to feel like the past. They built it to perform in the present. The chassis is sharper than ever. The grip is relentless. The precision is almost surgical. This is a car that can dominate a track and still handle your daily routine without breaking a sweat. And maybe that's the point, because this isn't just a driver's car anymore. It's a performance system, optimized, efficient, capable. But here's the question. When everything becomes easier, does it still feel as rewarding? That's where the divide began. Because this wasn't just evolution, it was transformation. Then came the G80, and it didn't ask for your approval. It demanded your attention. Let's be honest. You saw that grille. Maybe you loved it. Maybe you laughed. Maybe you stared at it for a few seconds and thought, what happened? Overnight, the M3 wasn't just a car anymore. It was a debate. But here's where it gets interesting. Because once you get past the looks, and you actually spend time with it, something doesn't add up. In a good way. 503 horsepower, all-wheel drive, launch control that hits so hard, it almost doesn't feel real. You press the throttle, and it just grips. No drama, no hesitation, just speed. The kind of speed that makes you question how this is even a sedan. And then, the next morning, you're sitting in traffic, climate control on, music playing, comfortable, and it's just normal. That's the moment it clicks. This car can do both, effortlessly. You can drive it to work all week, take it to a track on Sunday, and still stop for groceries on the way home. No compromises. At least, that's what it feels like. But here's where the tension starts. Because the M3 was never about doing everything. It was about doing one thing perfectly. Think about it. The original M3, it was a scalpel, light, sharp, focused. It didn't care about your comfort. It cared about how you drove. The G80, it's something else entirely. It adapts to you. You can soften it, you can sharpen it, you can make it rear-wheel drive, or let the system take over and give you grip everywhere, manual or automatic, comfort or full attack mode. It doesn't ask who you are. It asks, what do you want right now? And at first, that feels incredible. Because no matter what mood you're in, the car adjusts. But after a while, you start to notice something. When everything is possible, nothing feels quite as special. Because the magic of the older cars was that they made the decision for you. They forced you to engage. This one gives you options, and that changes the experience. So now the question isn't about speed. That's already been answered. It's not about capabilities either. That's obvious. The real question is this. When a car tries to be everything for everyone, does it lose the one thing that made it unforgettable? And that's why people are divided. Some of you will drive this and think, this is it. This is the best M3 ever made. Fast, capable, usable, complete. Others will step out of it and feel like something's missing. Not speed, not performance, but something harder to explain. Something you used to feel. And maybe that's the point, because for the first time, the M3 isn't just evolving, it's choosing what it wants to be. And not everyone agrees with that choice. But here's the part that keeps you watching. Neither side is wrong. And that tension, that's exactly where the G80 lives.